Welcome to English classes. Let us start with part 3 of chapter 5 in our book Footprints Without Feet, and the title of the story also is Footprints Without Feet. In the earlier two parts, we have read about introduction, summary, and explanation part of the chapter, and we have read up till now that Griffin, who was a brilliant scientist, yet he was a lawless person. So first lawless thing what he did, that was putting the house of his landlord on fire because he wanted to seek a revenge. Then he became invisible, and in the month of January, when he was feeling cold, he went inside a London store. He ate a lot of things from there, and he warmed himself by putting on good clothes. And while running away from there, from the assistants of the shop, he hit a shopkeeper and he robbed him of his money. And then finally, in order to escape the police, he reached a village named Iping and hired 2 rooms over there. And he started living in an inn which belonged to Mrs. Hall. Mrs. Hall, as much as she tried to be friendly with Griffin, she only received very rude behavior from him. He didn't want to be friends with anyone. Shortly enough, he ran short of money, and when Mrs. Hall asked for the next installment of the rent, he made an excuse that he was waiting for a check. But next very day, there was a theft at the clergyman's house, and we all know who was the thief. So we were reading about this, that the clergyman and his wife, they came to another room and they couldn't see anyone. They looked here and there, everywhere, under the desk, behind the curtain, up the chimney, but obviously there was a person, but the person was invisible, so how could they see? Then the clergyman kept on saying, extraordinary affair, and the whole day became the whole day, because he was shocked by the incident. But the things that happened with Mrs. Hall's furniture were much more fascinating. Mrs. Hall and her husband woke up very early and were surprised as the door of the guest room was open. Usually, the room in which Griffin was staying, the door to it remained closed all the time, and usually his room's door remained closed and locked. He used to get very angry if anyone tried to enter his room. It was an opportunity, and Mrs. Hall did not want to miss it because that time it was open. They decided to investigate who they saw when they saw that nobody was inside the room. His bed sheets were cold, which showed that he must have been up for a while, and also all the bandages that he used to tie around his face were lying around the room. That was something surprising. Suddenly, Mrs. Hall heard a sniff close to her ear, and Griffin's hat that was lying on the bedpost flung towards Mrs. Hall and hit her on the face. It means Griffin had come back to the room, and when he found Mrs. Hall investigating in his room, he became angry, and being a lawless fellow, he tried to hurt her by flinging the hat on her face. So this is how you can see he removes his bandages and he becomes invisible again. Then the chair in the room suddenly, because if an invisible person would lift the chair, what would happen? We all would imagine as if the chair is lifting itself in the air. So the same happened with Mrs. Hall. Then the chair in the room dashed itself. It came, hit Mrs. Hall in her legs. As they got scared, Mrs. Hall and her husband, they were going out of the room when the chair closed the door, and suddenly a sound of slamming the door and locking were heard. So when they were thrown out of the room, Griffin locked the room from inside. And Mrs. Hall and Mr. Hall, the owners of that inn, they were extremely terrified. Mrs. Hall was about to fall down from the stairs. She was convinced of the thought that there were some spirits in her inn's room and that the stranger had caused this to happen, because Griffin's behavior was very weird and it was strange. So she thought that some spirits have haunted that room, and all this is because of this strange man who is living as her guest. She mourned that her mother used to sit in the chair which hit her legs. She was crying at this thought that this chair belonged to her mother. The neighbors of Mrs. Hall thought That it was witchcraft means it was the work of some wizard, some magician, which had caused such a thing to happen. Otherwise, how can the just imagine a chair like this flying in air and hitting her. So the people thought that it was the work of some magician. These are some um, different and difficult words and their meanings. You can have a look at them, read them for your own convenience and for your own knowledge. So, next day, the news of burglary and this strange happening at Mrs. Hall's inn, they reached to the village people, and everybody came to know about this. Suspicion grew stronger on him when he produced ready cash for his payment at the inn, even though he had told some time back that he did not have any money. And the same very morning, when the clergyman's house was being burgled, this scientist, Griffin, he produced money to Mrs. Hall, saying that now he had got the money. So everybody was surprised that how could he arrange the money without the check, because check had not arrived yet. The village constable was called for, and Mrs. Hall did not want to wait for him. She went straight to Griffin as he had appeared from the empty bedroom at the inn. She asked him what had he been doing upstairs to her chairs and furniture. She also asked him how did he come out of the empty bedroom or enter the locked bedroom, because according to her knowledge the door of the bedroom was locked by some spirit, because she could not see anyone inside. So she thought, how could he enter the locked bedroom and how could he come out of the empty bedroom? So she was very much surprised. She couldn't understand anything. And listening to all these questions and all these investigations, Griffin became extremely angry and he started shouting that they don't understand who or what he was and decided to show them the truth. He became so angry that now he wanted to teach them a lesson. He said, "You don't know who I am actually." He removed his bandages, whiskers, spectacles, and also his nose. It took him just a minute to do all this, and the people in the bar were horrified as they looked at the headless man. See, how would it be for us to imagine if we happen to come in front of a man who doesn't have a head? Mr. Jeffers, the constable of the village, he was also surprised as he saw that he had to now arrest a man without any head. So you can imagine this man to be the constable, and these are the villagers. He was quite surprised to see a man who does not have any head. How would he arrest a man without head? But Jeffers still wanted to do his duty, as he knew that the magistrate wanted him to arrest the person, and it did not matter that he had a head or not. So, as he threw away more and more of his clothes, he became more and more invisible. And finally, after Griffin removed his shirt, he was nowhere to be seen. His body had become transparent. And Jeffers was struggling to arrest a man who had become completely invisible. People who tried helping Jeffers were also struggling as they were hit by blows from nowhere. Now, Griffin, in order to escape from being caught, he was hitting aimlessly whoever came in front of him, whoever came in his way. As Jeffers made his last attempt to catch hold of the invisible man, he was knocked unconscious by the invisible man. Griffin made him unconscious. Everybody was shouting, "Hold him!" Everybody was running after him and they were trying to hold him repeatedly, but Griffin had set himself free from them and nobody could understand how to catch him. So, this is how the people and Mr. Jeffers and Mrs. Hall and everybody was afraid when Griffin was making a move in order to become invisible and run away from there. So, this is how we come to an end of the chapter, when we know that people who indulge themselves in lawless activities, anyhow intelligent, wise, or great they may be, but if they behave against the norms of nature, society, and God, they cannot find a secure place for themselves. So, what do we learn from this chapter? Besides having a greater part of humor, we also learn a lesson that if rules and regulations and laws they have been made not to violate but to follow them, because we all live in a civilized society, and being civilized human beings, it becomes our duty towards ourselves and towards the society we are living in to follow every rule and regulation, because lawlessness ends up nowhere. So here we come to an end of the explanation. In the next lesson, we would deal with the question answers. Thank you, everyone.